Hi guys, Mr. Thompson here. We are going to graph y equals 3 tangent of 2x over this domain, negative pi over 4 to 3 pi over 4, and then we'll find the domain of that function in general. First, let's go through our little steps and figure out our a, b, c, and d. So our a is our amplitude, although it's not really an amplitude with a tangent, it's just more of a vertical stretch, but that's 3. So that's going to be how much we've tripled our y values. We'll get to that later. There's a b as well. We've changed our period. B is 2, and what that tells me is that my period is equal to pi over b, or pi over 2. Remember, this is very important with tangent and cotangent, the period is pi over b, not 2 pi over b, because tangent repeats in the third and fourth quadrant. So the period is pi over 2. Okay, I'm then going to take that and figure out my tick marks in order to label my x-axis by taking pi over 2 and multiplying it by 1/4 and taking a quarter of it, just like we did with sine and cosine. So that's pi over 8. So my tick mark should be happening every pi over 8. Okay, now notice I don't have a c and I don't have a d, which means I haven't shifted to the up and down and I haven't shifted to left or right. So we only have stretches to deal with, which is nice. Alright, so let me draw my x and y axis here. Okay, now as we look at our list of things to do first, we're always going to start with d. So d is first. There is no shift, so my midline is still right here along the x-axis. I'll go ahead and put my tick marks down nice and spread out so I can see what's going on. So pi over 8, 2 pi over 8, which is pi over 4, 3 pi over 8, 4 pi over 8, which is pi over 2, 5 pi over 8, 6 pi over 8, which is 3 pi over 4, and notice that's as far as they want me to go right there. Okay, I can go backwards, that's 0 of course, negative pi over 8, and negative 2 pi over 8, or negative pi over 4. That's, notice, the end of my domain. So that's how many tick, they basically gave us a finishing point. Now up and down I need to go 3, so let's go 1, 2, 3, and negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. Okay, I've now labeled my axes appropriately based upon the information that I've been given with the not amplitude, but the stretch, and with the tick marks based upon quartering my period. Now let's actually draw this thing. So I've done my tick marks. I want to second put my point down. So C is at 0. I haven't shifted anywhere. So my first point is at 0, 0. Okay. Then my third step is to move one period away and put my next one. So I need to go from 0. The next time I'm going to hit the midline is all the way over here at pi over 2. That's one period distance away from my first point. Halfway between that, I need an asymptote. So the asymptotes are occurring every pi over 4, and then a dot. So dot, asymptote, Notice that's 2 tick marks, which should be half my period, which makes sense. And now it gives me a general frame of reference for how to draw my tangent curve. Because I'm going dot, asymptote, I know my tangent curve is going to go up. The last thing we have to deal with is the stretch, which is 3. So at this tick mark, halfway between my dot and my asymptote, I'm going to be up here at the point pi over 8, 3. And then they just alternate being above and below. Because a tangent curve, unless it has been flipped, is always going to increase. Now lastly, we look at the curvature of the tangent curve, which is going to go up along the asymptote, change concavity at 0, and come back up like that. And voila, we have a tangent curve. Now, lastly, let's talk about our domain here. The domain, of course, will be all real numbers, because it's going to keep going on forever, infinitely, except x does not equal the asymptotes. Now where's there an asymptote? Well, it doesn't really matter which one I pick. Let's pick this one at pi over 4. So x cannot be pi over 4 because there's an asymptote there. It can't be pi over 4. And the asymptotes are going to occur every period. So every pi over 2 integers. And there's my domain of the entire infinite tangent curve. Got it? All right. I hope you guys have a good day. Thanks. Bye.